more consideration than you ever normally would treat me. And what do you suppose I'd give back to you? You're right, exactly the same. More love, more care, and more consideration than you would have ever normally got from that person or from me. And if you did that all day long with everyone you met, and you did it the next day and the next day, tell me your life wouldn't change for the better. I dare you. And what would it cost you? Nothing. You're right. You can change your life with that one little principle. Another great truth from the past: if you want to succeed, you have got to learn to live with failure. Mistakes, blunders, defeats, you can't avoid them. But if you let them make you gun shy, so that once you get beat, once you get knocked down, you're afraid to try again, you're making a terrible, terrible mistake. Mark Twain, many years ago, wrote the story about this cat who one day, for want of something better to do, jumped up on a hot stove and burned his tummy. That cat never jumped up on a hot stove again. But you know what? Cat never jumped up on a cold stove either. So many times in life, experience can actually be harmful to you if it prevents you from trying again. Just remember that even the most successful lives have chapters of failure. And the only ones who never fail, we know who they are. The ones who never try. Years ago, I was editing Success Unlimited magazine in Chicago, and it was the year, you baseball fans will appreciate this, you baseball fans will know there was a year when Hank Aaron was getting ready to break Babe Ruth's lifetime home run record. Hank had 710 and needed 5 more, and I'm sitting in my office in Chicago, and I got this crazy idea, and I called his ball club. They gave me the promotion man, publicity man, and I identified myself, and I said, now, I know he has 710 home runs, and he needs 5 more to break Babe Ruth's all-time record. But I've been sitting here wondering, lifetime, how many strikeouts does Aaron have? And he said, strikeouts, sir? And I said, yeah. He said, I got to put you on hold for that one. So he did for 4 or 5 minutes, and then he came back on the line, and he said, as of last night, Aaron has 710 home runs, needs 5 more to break Babe Ruth's record. And I said, I know that. And he has 1,264 strikeouts. And I thought, wow, here's an analogy I'm going to use for the rest of my life. Because here's the greatest home run hitter who has ever lived. Who has ever lived. And even he had to strike out almost twice for every time he hit a home run. Yeah, life is a game. But you don't have to hit a home run every time in order to be a winner. And if you don't believe me, you ask Hank. Another secret, at least I'm afraid this is still a secret to so many. No man or woman is an island. Success can absolutely not be achieved alone. There is no such thing as a self-made man or a self-made woman. All of us need help to achieve, to grow, or to recover from a disaster. But Lillian Roth, those of you old-timers will remember, was a great stage personality in the early 40s. And Lillian saw one of the most promising careers in theatrical history go down the drain because of her drinking. She lost everything. And years later, when she was recovering, she wrote a marvelous book that became a great movie that I know many of you seen called I'll Cry Tomorrow. In Lillian's book, she wrote that she was absolutely powerless to do one little thing toward changing the miserable conditions in her life until she was finally able to say 3 little words. I need help. All of us need help. Nobody, underlined, makes it all alone. Back in the 15th century, in a little village in the suburbs of Nuremberg in Germany, was a family with 15 children, 15 kids. Daddy worked 3 jobs just to keep food on the table for this army. 2 of the sons, 2 of the boys had a dream. They were both very talented, artist-wise. They were great with their pencils and their pens. And they both wanted to go to the art academy in Nuremberg. And yet they both knew full well there was no way to depend on Daddy for any help at all financially. There was no money to send them to the academy. So these 2 kids were pretty sharp. They worked up a pact. The pact was easy. They would toss a coin. The loser would go down to work in the mines. And with part of his earnings, he would support the winner. That brother would go to the art academy. And the brother working in the mines would support him for 4 years. And then when that brother graduated, either with his artwork by then if he was that good, or if he had to, he'd go into the mines, they'd change places, and they'd both have their degree. And so one day, these 2 very special boys tossed a coin. Their names are very similar. Albrecht Dürer won the toss. Albert Dürer lost. Albert went down into the mines, and Albrecht went off to the academy where he was almost an immediate sensation. His line drawings, his engravings, his oils, his watercolors, after the first year were better than anything any of his professors could do. He was just a natural genius. And the years passed, and Albrecht graduated and came home to a wonderful celebration out on the lawn. The table piled high with food, the whole family there. And at the proper moment, Albrecht stood with his glass of wine to drink a toast to his beloved brother Albert for the years of sacrifice. And he finished by saying, "And now, Albert, now it's your turn. Now you can go to the academy, and I will take care of you." And all eyes turned down the other end of the table, because Albert was still sitting, his hands over his face, and he was shaking his head back and forth, and they all heard him say, "No, no, no." And finally he stood, and he wiped the tears from his cheeks. And he said, "No, dear brother, it's too late for me. You see what 4 years in the mines have done to my hands? I have smashed every finger at least once. And by now I have arthritis so bad in my right hand that I can't even hold the wine glass to return your beautiful toast, much less hold a pen or a brush. It's too late for me." 400 years have passed, and by now Albrecht Dürer's work hangs in every great museum in the world. And yet I'll wager that most of you know Albrecht Dürer for only one of his masterpieces. Because one day, to honor his beloved brother, Albrecht painted his brother's hands. He called it hands in the beginning, but through the centuries, all of us have lovingly called it the praying hands. The next time you see that masterpiece, take another look. Look at the fingers, and let it remind you, if you need to be reminded again, that nobody makes it alone. Of course, all of us have our own set of praying hands if you stop to think about it, huh? You know, all you have to do is put those palms together, stick the fingers out a little bit, raise your eyes. Don't be afraid to say, "I need help." You'd be surprised how close help is if you ask for it.